After working for those major corporations, and we started our company, that's a question that we asked ourselves because we were in the same boat. We wanted to change a lot of the lifestyle. We really want to enjoy spirits, even though they're no healthier. You're talking about a drug that is regulated, tobacco and alcohol together. You can actually, drink products that are better for you in a way that it goes all into base of production. So when we start our company, we say, okay, how can we be different than these companies? So then we start looking into what those companies cannot do. They cannot work on sustainability. They cannot work on eco-friendly. They cannot work even on certified organic.
What drives an entrepreneur to leave a successful corporate career and start something entirely on their own? In this episode of Going Beyond the Deal, I sit down with Manuel Aczualdez, founder and CEO of Drink Good Spirits, to uncover the story behind his journey from working for industry giants like Diageo and Clase Azul to creating a brand that blends sustainability, authenticity, and craftsmanship. Manuel shares how he leveraged decades of experience in the spirits industry to develop a unique portfolio of premium tequila, mezcal, and gin brands. From navigating the challenges of launching a brand to overcoming setbacks in trademarking and distribution, Manuel provides an inside look at the highs and lows of building a business. He also delves into the importance of storytelling, brand integrity, and maintaining work-life balance while growing an international brand. If you've ever considered taking the leap into entrepreneurship, this is an episode packed with practical advice and inspiration. All right, Manuel Aczualdez, it is great to have you on the podcast today. I can't believe it. We just realized before we jumped onto this, it's been almost 10 years since we first met each other.
It's great, Michael, to catching up with you. When you told me about the opportunity, I was like, oh, we definitely have to catch up. More than a decade. My God, when you get to know people, you never know. The world goes around and you run into people again, and it's great to catch up always.
Awesome. I'm just so happy to see the progression of what has happened. You and your lovely wife, Jennifer, I met over a decade ago. You were at Diageo at the time, and then I think you went over to Clase Azul. And then now we have the Aldez brand tequila and gin, I believe. So, we were talking about this a little bit before. As I told you, I was always kind of a dark spirits guy, and all of my, my bougie friends would be drinking scotch and bourbon back in the day. But now we've seen this shift to tequila, and it's a lot healthier. It still kind of has that mouth feel and that dark spirits. You can sip on it neat. I don't know, man. I think I'm going from bourbon to tequila now. So tell me about how you went from Diageo and Clase Azul to Aldez and all about that.
No, that was it has been an amazing journey. When I see my career, I started working in this industry when I was like 23 years old. I'm 47 now. So it's an industry when you're in, you actually are so passionate and it's so much to learn. And when you see the two companies that I work for, it's like going to college after college. Because all the training that you have to go through the years, and these companies give you the opportunity to develop. And it goes like from marketing aspect of it, distribution, how to create a brand, how to, persuade consumers to become adopters of your brand, and how to position yourself. So after spending almost 14 years with Diageo and a couple of years with Clase Azul.
And we're talking about now, I just sorry to interject, but for those that aren't tequila people, we're talking about the leaders in the industry that you work for. So from an educational standpoint, you learn from the best of the best.
Yeah, imagine. When I started working with two small brands today that maybe few people know. One is Don Julio, the other one is Jose Cuervo. So, but when you're talking about 20 years ago, between you and me, I couldn't give away Don Julio. I started in Dallas. That's where I started my career. And when I started working on Don Julio, they sent me to El Paso and McAllen. And even then, I couldn't move the product. people were saying, oh, this tastes great, but can you send me 10 cases of Cuervo? So you can see in 20 years how consumers have changed the perception of what is tequila.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got into it a little bit with me. I mean, I'm, as a lot of people know that, a lot of our listeners know, I'm super health conscious. And
Yeah.
the one thing that's really what I found really special about the Aldez brands is how, how careful you are about what you're putting into the product. And it's one of those things where, I have a friend that's a certified health coach, and she only drinks tequila. Like that's just what she drinks when she goes out socially. So if you could get into a little bit about, about that, and why is tequila a little bit healthier for people, and why is it, something that maybe people want to try if they're going to be a little bit health conscious.
After working for those major corporations, and we started our company, that's a question that we asked ourselves because we were in the same boat. We wanted to change a lot of the lifestyle. We really want to enjoy spirits, even though they're no healthier. I mean, you're talking about a drug that is regulated, tobacco and alcohol together. You can actually, drink products that are better for you in a way that it goes all into base of production. So when we start our company, we say, okay, how can we be different than these companies? So then we start looking into what those companies cannot do. They cannot work on sustainability. They cannot work on eco-friendly. They cannot work even on certified organic. At the time that we started, the certification or certified organic products, you went to the supermarket and the area was very small, right? You have a little section where you have your vegetables and they were all certified organic. Look where we are now. It's everywhere. So we start seeing that and we're going like, oh my God, it's a great opportunity to do a product that is certified organic, that they know that we don't use any chemicals. And that's kind of like how it started. And I knew that the big companies couldn't compete. No, the big companies were not going to pay for the USDA bio-research. I know using chemicals. These companies only control a small percentage of the raw material to produce their product. So imagine that they require every farmer to have their product certified organic. So we find that niche. I think that this is back in 2018 when we started the project. And 3 years prior, we were working and selecting all these distilleries, the belief of how to make a clean product. And tequila, you mentioned, is healthier. In a way, the blue agave blend or, the variety that we use on tequila is called Tequila and Weaver. This is a low glycemic. So what it means, and this is what everybody's so passionate, and I love tequila, I don't get the hangover in the morning. The reality is that the plant, when you distill it and produce tequila or any agave distill, your body cannot digest all the enzymes from the alcohol. So what you do in a period of 2 hours that your digestion, give or take, happens, you tend to flush all the liquid or most of the liquid out. So you don't get to digest all of it. So that's why you feel slightly better in the morning. And I say slightly better because if you drink that whole bottle, Michael, you're going to have a hangover in the morning. But if you drink in moderation and enjoying the product, you should be fine.
We're no longer drinking bottles anymore. You and I are both in our 40s now. So I'm like, I think that's what it comes down to. It's like, I think a lot of people have said, especially as you get older, you want to be responsible. You're not going to be sitting down there shooting shots of tequila, if you will, right? You can sip on one and really savor the flavor and enjoy it, over a period of time. And it kind of goes a long way as you sip it through. But no, that's very interesting. When we see the tequila market, is it overall relatively healthy? We see a lot of these people. Dwayne Johnson has his own tequila now. Is everybody trying to go if that more organic and healthier route, or is it a lot of just junk out there on the shelves?
Listen, tequila is hot. It's being had for the last 20 years. In the last 6 years, I think one of the biggest deals that closed at the time was the acquisition or the acquire of Casamigos. That you have George Clooney and a bunch of celebrities, and Diageo acquired that brand. I think was for $1 billion. So that created excitement across many celebrities. So tequila is being had, and it's still had today. Even though when you see the news about our economy and the news about the spirit market, it's the first time that it's down, but still tequila is still growing at 5%. Last data that I saw for Nielsen. So seeing this, what people drinking is, yes, we already, the U.S. consumer have an affinity to drink the spirit, and it's becoming the second biggest category in the United States. So what you see in the market when the category is so big, you're going to find everything on it. You're going to find from amazing tequilas to some other brands that just is a marketing platform. The way that I think as a founder of a craft brand that worries so much about the liquid, they're all are meant to be in a way, because what it create awareness. So consumers can buy a product and go, oh, I tried this tequila. They maybe love it, but when they try the next best one, they start graduating to the next high quality product. So you always have an entry level, and then you have your fine level that can go from luxury or can go from the best craft. And tequila is one of those categories that consumers put it to higher standards. And now they're becoming more savvy and asking you more difficult questions about your process of production and asking you if you add chemicals, if you don't have any additive on it. So it's a total movement that have changed, every decade. I mean, it's something different from the category.
Excellent. So I mean, what was the biggest challenge when you decided to start the brand? I mean, I don't know, maybe you could just get into it, like just a little bit of how you went from, Clase Azul to, starting your own brand. That must have been so nerve-wracking, and it was like taking you're jumping off the cliff and saying, okay, I hope this works. Can you get into a little bit about that? Like, what was your mindset? I mean, what was the conversations between you and Jennifer? I mean, like, you were making a very comfortable living, I'm sure, working for Clase Azul, and then said, okay, we're going to do this on our own. That's a big risk to take. Can you get into that a little bit?
Both companies, I mean, I was very comfortable. That's why I stayed so long. And it got to a point that changes have to be made. I mean, you see every time that they did a restructuring and changes, and it got to a point that I was getting slightly tired of doing the same thing. I mean, telling any story without knowing exactly how real it is. And get to a point that you become repetitive. Corporations only teach you one scene inside the corporate. You never get to see the whole big picture. So what I was able to see during all that time is different pieces of this amazing organization or category or selling spirits, and I have to put them all together. So when I left the corporate, I already experienced from marketing, production, sales, positioning. So got to a point that Jen asked me, listen, now you want to go back to corporate again and take another brand and build another one? What if we don't do it ourselves? And I'm going like, wow, how are we going to do that? That's actually so much research. I only know one part of it. I said, listen, let's take baby steps. So through all the companies, I learned one thing that changed differently. But after I left the two major companies, I started consulting. And through the consulting, I was able to work with some entrepreneurs that were in the same category, but seeing exactly their difficulties and taking note. And it's all about learning with time. This is not something that we went to an agency and say, listen, we want to do a tequila brand. Well, here's the money. Let's go ahead and do it. Just give me the final product. No, we wanted to control every aspect of it. So we started, getting our importation license. I mean, we knew that controlling the product as soon as you import into the US was going to be key for us. Then
was that a long process?
It was. I mean, I know it was shorter compared to what it takes to register a brand with the USPTO, because these are brands like Adidas, Nike. I mean, you have to register. All these brands that you see in the tequila market, they're registered. So you have to go through a process that takes a long time. I mean, to register, you can have the importation company already set up in the state and everything. But if you don't have a brand registered, Mexico have what is known an appellation of origin for the production of tequila and mezcal and other distills from Mexico. If you don't have a brand approved in the country where you're going to sell, they don't bottle for you.
Wow.
So, so we went through the whole process. At the time that after I finished consulting, we decided to jump in. So we got our importing company. That was actually self-funded, by the way. This was our money on the line.
Congratulations.
So we went all in and we got approved for our importing license. That's great. So then, I went to talk to all the producers that I already knew and start the selection process. And then the difficult part here, and one of the biggest challenges when you start a brand, that you have to try to convince people. Because at the time, I'm self-funded. I don't come with multi-million-dollar budget that I say to a producer, listen, I'm going to be launching this brand. Here we go. You have $500,000 for production. No, the way we start is persuading. Listen, we have this dream that we want to launch this brand. You know, my track record of the companies that I work for. So through the process, we also have very specific needs for the producers. We didn't want to go to anyone because if you go to anyone, you cannot control the quality of your product. So when we did that, we narrowed it down to the best producers, and we want producers that control the raw material. And we landed a phenomenal distillery that at the time was going through the process of 100% blue agave to certify organic 100% blue agave. And they saw the opportunity to say, of course, I mean, at the time I used to co-own another brand. And the other brand, I told the producers, I remember, listen, I want to do this new project. If I cannot put it together, I will buy it through the other company. We needed a liquid, but I mean, we work from A to Z, from harvesting agaves to production to aging, and that was all a learning process. By the time that we were producing, this is where it got very difficult. We went to the USPTO to register the brand in the United States, and we submit all the paperwork. I don't know if you know that every time that you submit a brand to the USPTO, you have a waiting period. This waiting period can go from 8 months to 40 months before your brand, because you have to go through the process of waiting. Then you have to wait for an opposition, and then they award you either your principal or a complimentary registration. So we submit everything, and we're like, we're going to be launching a tequila brand. We want to control everything, as I mentioned. We went and looked for every single supplier, the bottle, the cap, the sealer, everything. And it took us a long.
Can I ask you a question though? It's like during this waiting period, right? I mean, you already have invested now in starting to create the liquid, right? Because there is an aging process. So you can't just like come out with it, right away. And I learned this very interestingly. I went to a distillery, a young distillery here in New Jersey. And I remember going and I said, okay, do you have a bourbon? And they go, oh, no, not for another 7 or 8 years, right? Because it needs to age. They say, we have gin or gin. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'll have gin then.
No, it happened the same thing. I mean, luckily, the distillery we're working on, we already have brought it in through the other brand. So we just piggyback. They believed, that the growth that we have seen on the other brand. And it took us, we go 8 months in, and we say, we always going to get the trademark. And then we got a letter we wait another, I think, 3-4 months. It was already 1 year. And by 1 year, you already have Blanco, Reposado, and Añejo. But this gets better. By the time that we get the letter, they say, unfortunately, we're going to have to actually decline, or because you have an opposition on your name. The brand was going to be called Aldez, and there is a small company of wine called Coppola Wines. They have put in a position.
Little
this
one.
company is massive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're going like, we cannot actually fight this. I mean, it's something that definitely we're going to let go. So I have to run to my producer and go like, listen, the USPTO didn't go through, or brand. And the producer say, I told you that. I say, give me a chance. Put that tequila blanco that I have, put it in a stainless steel tank. I promise you, I'm going to buy it. And the product that was aging, it was aged already. We wait another 8 months. And finally, at the time, that's when I was killing myself like for 2 months trying to figure out a name. And I have, all books trying to think about names, doing, composed names and all that. And my wife walks by and goes like, what do you don't call it? Aldez. And I go like, Aldez. Yeah, no, it's not. It's the five last letters of her last name. But it's not about us. I said, listen, the big brands, it's 2 syllables. It's easy for anybody to pronounce. And I'm going to go, okay, let's go ahead and do Aldez. And she go ahead and trademark the word, send it in. And she didn't told me at the time, but she also trademarked our first 4 letters of her last name, Aksu. And I didn't know about it. Yeah. 8 months go by, finally got approved and went through the printing process. But that was one of the most nerve-breaking. Starting the company, that could put me out of business in a heartbeat. Because instead of launching in 8 months, we ended up launching almost 2 years later.
I think it's crazy though, right? Because, when I asked you initially, what was the biggest challenge? I thought you were going to say, one would assume, okay, there was, we didn't get enough rain and we couldn't harvest the agave, or there was a problem with the production. It was the name and the trademark of a name. That's just insane, you know?
And listen, and we wanted, like I said, we want to be able to control all destiny. So we decided to do everything from the ground up. I mean, the foundation for us was the most important thing. If you control your name, well, let's say from raw material, the agave, production, aging, the name, your importation, and then you're able to handpick your distributors. It's actually that not many companies take the time to do it. I mean, sometimes they produce their product, leave it on the distillery, do a partnership with an importer, and the importer imported, and they don't even operate. We're operators as well.
Absolutely. So tell me from the start of the idea to finally having bottle in hand for the first time, how long was that in
Almost three
total?
years, two and a
Almost
half
3
years.
years. Okay.
Yes. In any brand, even if you have everything aligned, it doesn't take less than a year and a half to 2 years. And
Okay.
everything goes again to trademark production of every item that you have. Even we went as far as customize our molds. And the molds, I mean, takes weeks and then you have to stay on rotation. So you need a year of planning and then what you wait. But you can do a lot of this stuff combined together at the same time and just crossing your fingers that everything's going to go through. There is always hiccups you have to jump because since we started, we were able to launch tequila, we did mezcal, and we also have gin, and we're working on other innovations as well.
Nice. Well, we'll get into what's headed in the future. So, towards the end of the podcast, but obviously this was, that was probably the formation and the starting was the challenge. You know, throughout this whole process, what is the one moment that you and Jen, look at as like, hey, this was the best part of this whole thing. It made it all worth it in this one moment. Can you paint that picture for me?
I remember that. I mean, that was actually when we saw our first case, and then what happened thereafter. Because usually, I mean, you're talking about a brand that is from somebody that worked for this brand, that released a brand with no financial backup. I mean, no major company out. Selling the first case, I think the day was August 18 of 2018. And 3 months later, saw all the production that we have on hand. That was something that for us went like, oh, we have something going here. So, and immediately, I mean, we launched in August 18, we sold the first case in the state of New Jersey. And then, like 15 days later, we sold the first case in New York. By November, I mean, or actually by end of October, I was running another production. And at this point, that's when another reality hit you, cash flow. And we were like, whoa, this even sold even faster than we expected it. So that's for us was the moment that we say, okay, we have to buckle up. This is going to be interesting. And we're talking about, we started hand selling ourselves. I mean, I was hand selling the brand and it's still today, hand sell it. But at the time, I didn't have any employees whatsoever. It was just Jen and myself.
So now, fast forward, now we're, approaching what, 7, almost 8 years later. I mean, how much has the company grown now? I mean, is it more than you and just Jen? I mean, I'm assuming you're not going across the.
No, we're not doing it. I mean, we have, team members. I mean, we go on the distillery in Spain. We have a full team in Spain. We have a team in Mexico. Our company was started in the Northeast. The Northeast is actually our anchor. I mean, from the tri-state, specifically New Jersey, where the brand was born, in New York. Now we are, Connecticut, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts. Now I relocate to Florida. I live in Miami. And between Miami and New Jersey, I still have my place in New Jersey. We also are in Texas. We're in North Carolina. But now it's the growth. It has taken us 5 years. We've been selling for 6 years now. So it has taken us 6 years to create the foundation, but through sales and a dedicated team and a very strong team with a lot of experience. And those are other of the challenges that we went when we went from that selling the first case to the first year and going through all the difficulties to be able to keep inventory, cash flow, more when they have the terms. And that's when you have to start cutting deals and have to understand exactly how you're going to penetrate the market. Is one way to know that you have a suitcase of cash, or knowing that every sale counts. And that's the transition that we went for the first 3 years. And we went through something that, I mean, I wish we don't go ever again, and that is COVID. We went through a huge pandemic that it make our business grew almost 400%. So I mean, that all those terms, but everything is a cycle. So I mean, a lot of ups and downs, but a lot of ups that when we up, we go up. I mean, we grow and then we step back slightly because I mean, it's just operations and learnings that we take as a
Yeah.
producer.
Absolutely. So, I mean, what's really cool about today, obviously reconnecting with you after 10 years, but it's very funny how our stories are a little bit similar, right? When I had my career in commercial finance, I was doing very, very well. And, I had to say to my wife, like, "Hey, this isn't enough. I'm bored. I want to do something more." And now that I have my dream job as an investment banker, and it's absolutely amazing. But the one thing that I would say that really has helped me to be able to make those transitions are the daily habits that I have and the mentors that I've had to get me there. Can you get into a little bit of like your mindset? What are the kind of things that you're doing on a regular basis? Do you have a mentor? Are you are you into exercise or meditation or recovery? What are the things that Manuel is doing on a daily basis, and Jennifer as well, to really be at your best to be able to continue to grow this as you have been?
Listen, I mean, early mornings are always great for me. I mean,
Mhm.
I've been changing more and more my lifestyle when it goes into how to need my clear mind. So I exercise every morning. I mean, I take 45
Excellent.
minutes minimum, but I also on a road bike or a Roddy. So I'm the ones that they can do 150 miles, 200 miles a week. And I do it in the morning. We usually start riding. I mean, from here, Florida, 5 a.m. and away, 5:30, we start riding. So that's the way it give me peace and I can concentrate. And it's a sport that it make you think a lot about what you're doing. I mean, you have concentration. It's a sport you compete against you. I mean,
Yeah.
how pain can you go through? And you tend to think a lot. So that's the way that I actually keep my mind sane. And I retook it. I mean, I was off from cycling for a long time, and I took it maybe 2 years ago, and really have helped me keeping that peace that I need. Because I mean, as a CEO and founder of a company, I have to deal with all the problems. I mean, I never realized the life of a CEO and the loneliness of an entrepreneur, because you're really lonely. I mean, it's a position that a lot of people say, "Oh, you're a CEO, you're making all this money, you own a company," but the responsibilities that go with that are tremendous. And a lot of people underestimate sometimes. I mean, all the stress that small business owners, big CEOs, small CEOs, the responsibility they have.
Yeah.
So, mentorship wise, of course, you always need mentors. I mean, and during the time of the career, I was able to connect with many people that helped me through the career. Some of those people helped me through build a company, work for us during the process, either as a contractors. And I even have my main mentor now work for us and
Oh,
represent the state
wow.
of Texas. Somebody that I know for over 20 years. So I mean, through this path or this creation of the company and my professional career, I was able to touch the life of some people or and change their life and their career path, but also being able to learn from those people and help those people that also helped me during the time. So an average experience that we have from the company now is an average of 22 years of experience. So I even brought
Wow.
some people out of retirement. And so they listen, come over. I mean, you
Great.
have so much knowledge. And everybody that work in the company at this point, I can tell you have at least 10 years of experience in the company, in
Wow.
the industry. So, I mean, we took a big learning when we started the company. I'm trying to take something bigger that I could take, that is train everybody that comes into the company. Pretty early, I came to realize that I'm only one person. I have to have people qualify to help me scale the company. And I touched as many as I could. And my main core of people is somebody that that I took from the beginning. And it's been already 10 years. And those guys already are the anchor of the organization as well. They have helped us stay where we are.
That's awesome. So, I mean, I guess I have to ask it, right? I mean, you're the CEO of a company, but you're in this business with your wife. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? I mean, not a curse, never a curse. I wouldn't say a curse, right? But it has to be very fulfilling, but it also has to be challenging. I mean, how do you guys manage, your professional relationship and your personal relationship?
No, listen, that's a phenomenal question. We've been together for 16 years. the creation of DGS or Drink Good Spirits and all the brands was because the two of us. We missing one of the two of us, I mean, the company who have never been created. So challenges happen, of course, because we both are very opinionated and know exactly the direction that we want to go. But we split exactly our responsibilities. What Jen knows is everything about brand creation, that the positioning, the designs, I mean, what direction on the marketing, even though she's not on marketing, but she's on brand creation. I mean, everything related to the social media, website. She come from programming, so she knows how to create brands. On my side, I come from the liquid, the spirit. I mean, how it's gonna taste, how do we source? So we never step on each other's toes. I mean, she handles everything that is look and feel. And when you see our brands, I mean, all the designs are with Jen, and the functionality and the liquid come from our side. Let me take that on a little bit more scope. When it goes into tasting, we're both experts. I mean, Jen, before she met me, she didn't drink, and we met when she was 28. Now she really is a catadora that is actually a tasting. She can taste the profiles, and every single thing that you taste in our products have been selected by the two of us, working very close with our master distillers and master profilers. Then nowadays in our company, we have our own. So, I mean, the team, I mean, I keep growing, but Jen and I mean, we work together in a way that we understand exactly what the organization needs, and we learn to trust each other. And I don't step on her responsibilities, and she doesn't step on mine. We always have opinions of how can we do better, but we listen to each other. Difficulties are in every company, but we have been able to manage this for many years.
That's amazing. God bless. I'm very, very, very happy to hear that. So I guess the one thing that I really wanted to ask you, you've had such an exciting career, such an exciting journey. What is one thing that the listeners could really take away from you? What's the biggest insight that you and Jennifer have had, throughout this process that you could give as, as advice to, someone that's maybe interested in, hey, let me try something new. Let me jump off this cliff and see what happens. Jump into the deep end of the pool. What's the biggest insight that you could give or share with someone?
Listen, I mean, some of the challenges the entrepreneurs we always have is, okay, you never want to let go of something before the other one is, secured. That doesn't, I mean, if you do something part-time, it's never going to become a reality. It become a hobby. And more if you don't work 100% and you don't make no money, it becomes a hobby. If you really want something to work, you have to play your cards, but also play your cards in something that you know. Don't do something that is a new venture that is nothing related to what you have learned. Another key element when you're going to be an entrepreneur in any industry, make sure that you're an expert on that industry.
Absolutely.
That's what you love. That's what you're passionate. Don't try to be entrepreneur in something that you have never tried before. And that happened a lot. And people say, wow, it's so difficult. I didn't know all this. It's mainly stay in what your passion is, and you have to stick to it through the good, through the bad. I mean, because most of the business that fail is because they don't know of what they're doing, or they don't have a good, push from the financial, from everything. You have to be able to check every box and then make the jump and stick to it. I mean, it's going to be months or years that are going to be hard. I mean, as an organization, it's still hard for us. The more we grow, the harder it gets. So it's something that you have to be passionate and understand where you're going with your company.
Very cool. Very cool. So, you guys, what you can say here, on the podcast for our listeners, as this will be, coming out, a couple months from now, but what's next for, the Drink Good Spirits, brands, and, what's next for you guys?
So we're very excited because, I mean, after all this time being in the market, either through self-distribution or with a specific distributor in each market, I mean, we're working into now spending through a national distribution. At the same time, I mean, our innovations are going to start, keep growing up. We're not only working on a single brand. We're creating a portfolio of brands that all relate to each other. I mean, when we start DGS was a company that have the heritage of the old world. From me being Spanish or Latino, old world from Spain, new world from Mexico down to South America. So we work with phenomenal distilleries, and what is next for us is keep visiting different countries and partner with this distillery to tell their story. So tell the story of a country through a distill is what we do. Not many people think when they go to a bar and they see all those friends on the back bar. I mean, they're from different countries. And when you enjoy and tasting, you're drinking the culture of that specific country. It's the same thing. I mean, we want to bring that education into the United States about the culture of that specific country. And it's all Latin America, and they have so much to offer. And we really enjoy the tequilas, mezcales, rones, and everything else. So that's kind of like the future for us, is to keep developing our portfolio and educating consumers into what we do.
Very cool. Very cool. So if anybody wants to find any of the Drink Good Spirits brands, how do people find you, Manuel? How do people find any of your products? Please let us know how to get in touch with you, and how do we find some of these good spirits?
Listen, the United States is huge, but if we're able to send product to multiple states or almost all of them, you can find us at, aldeztequila.com is spelled ALDEZ, tequila.com. Or you can find drinkgoodtequila.com, drink good mezcal, and drink good gin. And it will put you directly into our website. I mean, you can buy directly from there. If you're in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, some places in Dallas, in Texas, like Dallas specifically, and in Florida, the Miami area, you can find us in a lot of retailers. And talk to us on Instagram. We have all the pages of Instagram. They're all Aldez Tequila or Aldez Mezcal. And those are our handles, and you can talk directly to us. And we always respond to everyone that talk to us, and we educate people. If you have any questions, you can actually ask us there as well.
All right. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to hopefully having dinner with you and Jennifer when you guys are back up in the New Jersey area. And congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much, Michael. Looking forward. We're going to be back in Jersey pretty soon.
Very good. Have a great day.
You too.